Hey everybody, it's Cayley. I am back with another What Sold from Last Week video. As always, in today's video, we'll be going over my sales from last week. If you're new here, I sell on two different platforms, mainly eBay and Poshmark. There are a couple of other platforms that I kind of dabble in and occasionally sell stuff on, but every week I like to focus on my eBay and Poshmark sales as that's where the bulk of my income comes from. So we'll do a quick breakdown into the numbers, how much it cost me in fees, shipping, cost of goods, things like that. And then we'll dive into some of the items that sold and do kind of a deep dive into those items and why they sold for how much. If you like this kind of content while you're watching, you can give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. Alright, so all of the sales numbers that you see here happened between July 24th through the 30th, so the last week of July. In total, I sold 124 items for a gross sales total of $3,689.76, which is quite a bit lower than last week. I had a really great boom in sales last week. I'm dropping back down to what I normally do. Hopefully that will continue to go up as we move closer to a busier season. This made my average sale price $29.76, and my estimated cost of goods for everything last week that sold was $496. My estimated net, which is the gross sales less the cost of goods, the fees, and the shipping costs, was $2,158.57. On eBay, I sold 88 items, and on Poshmark, I sold 36. I sold over $2,500 worth on eBay, and then over $1,100 on Poshmark. We're going to jump right into the sales, and we're starting with eBay. These are a pair of Donald J. Pliner women's shoes. Donald J. Pliner is a very high-end brand, but it does not always have the best resale value or sell-through rate. But I do try to look up specific pieces. One good thing about them is they generally do have style names. So I was able to look up this one pretty easily because it had the style name on a sticker on the bottom. So I just looked that up and I saw that these are doing pretty well in this particular style. Again, I do not pick up everything in this brand. I paid $4.99 for these. They're just like a platform slide with a thong for the toe underneath, and this is a very, very popular style in this brand. They sold for my full asking price of $69.95. I picked this one up based on style alone, and I actually got this at the Benz. I like picking up ivory, white colored, chunky cable knit, like all over cable knit sweaters, especially in fall and winter. This one we picked up at the Benz quite a few months ago during warmer weather, but I could not pass it up because I knew it would sell as we got closer to colder weather. So this is just called Blarney Woolen Mills. I don't know much about this brand, but it was 100% wool, and again, this aesthetic on a sweater just does extremely well for me. So I picked it up based on style alone. It was a little bit heavier, so I probably paid, I would say, like $4 based on weight, but it did sell for my full asking price of $54.94, which is amazing for a grab at the Benz. Next up is a brand that's becoming a really great bread and butter for us. This is Talbots. I actually found this dress new with tags. I really love selling Talbots dresses, but especially new with tags. This you can see retailed for $149, and overall just a really pretty aesthetic. I actually paid a little bit up for this. I paid $6.25, but it did sell for my full asking price of $49.95. This one was a surprising, really fast sale. I think it sold maybe the same day we listed it. The brand is Cut Loose, and I almost actually left this behind because it was an extra small, and I mean, comps on the brand weren't really that great, but the reason I decided to get it was because it was 100% linen. It had that longer length and just overall a really high quality feeling fabric. So for all of those reasons, I decided to take a chance and get it. I paid full price, so I paid a little bit up. I paid $5.99 for this one, but it ended up selling, like I said, very quickly on an offer to watcher. I originally listed this for about $50, and it ended up selling for about $45. Next up is another Benz pickup. This is an LL Bean men's like fishing kind of jacket. LL Bean stuff does really well for me, especially in the men's department. This is a utility vest, kind of an older label to be honest, but this stuff does really, really well for me. This one was also kind of heavy. I probably paid $4 for this one as well, but it did sell for my full asking price of $39.96, and it took about a month to sell. This has become one of my favorite men's brands to sell. It is Vineyard Vines. I don't do much with this in the women's department, only certain pieces, but almost all of the men's stuff perform very well for us. I paid $3.50 for these pants. I say this often, but if you ever see a size tag where it has the style name underneath of the brand, that's usually a good indicator that it's something worth getting. These were called the on-the-go pants, and they were pretty large size, which helped to up the value as well. So I paid $3.50, and they did sell for my full asking price of $39.96, and they took about a month to sell. Next up is another dress. You guys probably know this brand. I don't come across it often. It's Tory Burch. This brand tends to sit for me. Now, it always ends up performing and bringing a really good return on investment, but it doesn't fly off the shelf for me. But I continue to get it because I know it is a luxury brand and it is eventually going to make me tons of money. I paid $4.39 for this dress. This was a really beautiful silk dress with some really nice patterns. It was a size small, and I believe the style name was Flavia or Flavia. So I paid $4.39. It ended up selling on an offer to watcher for $43.68. This is kind of a weird price because it did not sell, like I said, it did not sell within my 3-month window, 90 days when I usually like to sell an item. So therefore, eventually the price got dropped on it. We drop our prices every 90 days. So that's why it's kind of got this weird sale number here. Moving on, we have a very, very quick sale. This is a vintage fresh produce. I've actually started slowing down on this brand a little bit because I noticed that it is not performing as well as it used to, but the vintage stuff like this, especially in the dresses, can do really good. Made in the USA, made in Boulder, Colorado. This is a dragonfly pink pocket dress, shirt dress, tank dress, I guess I would say. I was actually able to find very similar vintage fresh produce dresses like this, and that's the reason I ended up pricing this so high. I paid $4.89 for this, and it did sell very, very quickly, I think within days, for our full asking price of $39.97. Here's another pair of Vineyard Vines men's pants. These ones I just quite literally we just listed as is, even though the style was on the tag. We probably should have put on the go pant, but we still listed accordingly. That was just a mistake on our part, and they still sold for about the same price. We paid $3.50 for these. We listed them for about $40, and they sold for about $36. Next up is kind of a niche kind of category that I always pick up, but a lot of people pass on. It is Harry Potter stuff. I know this has like a cult following, and whenever you do comps, the comps actually look really good. If you can get it in like Hot Topic stuff or Torrid collaborations, some of those pieces can go for quite a bit. But I do like finding the more unique stuff. This is an overall dress, which is something I've not found before in Harry Potter. I do always try to include the name of whatever crust is on here. So this one was Hufflepuff. And I could not find an exact comp on this, so I just priced what I thought it was worth, and it sold very quickly. Maybe I priced it a little too low. I paid $4.89 for this. It sold for my full asking price of $34.97, and it sold within a couple of weeks. This is Banana Republic. I find this brand all the time, but I almost pick up like none of it. This is the one exception I'll make. It is a men's item. They're called the Blue Traveler Pants. They also make Traveler jeans, but regardless, if I see the Traveler or Traveler, I almost always pick it up because they have a really high sell-through rate. I paid $2.50 for this, and it sold on an offer to watcher for $26.96. This is a Madewell item. I don't pick up a lot of Madewell anymore, but I always do look up in more substantial pieces the style number, which is on the inside. And this one was just called the Blue White Stripe Button Front Dress. Chambray stuff for me does really well, nautical stuff, so I thought this would do good. But this is an example of an item that still sells within Madewell. I think it also helped that it was an extra large petite. I picked this up for very cheap. I paid $2.50 and it did sell for my full asking price of $29.93. This is another bread and butter item for us. It is a men's Nike hoodie. This is the dry fit line. It was a size large, which also helped to up the value. I try to look for like significant swooshes, but this one was a little bit more unique with its structure, so I made an exception for that. I paid $4.69 for it. This even had a small hole in the seam of the hood, which you see we noted here, and it still sold for a best offer of $25. Next up is another Talbots piece. This is a pair of pants. It's really hard to see from the photo, but there is a bunch of little heart prints all throughout it. I actually thought that this might sit for a little bit longer just because of the print. I thought it might sell closer to Valentine's Day, but to my surprise, sold within a couple of weeks. These are called the Hampshire ankle pants, and depending on the size, they can perform really good. I paid $2.75 for this, and like I said, it sold very quickly for my full asking price of $24.97. Next up is a Ralph Lauren piece. I like to talk about this a lot. Ralph Lauren and pretty much all of its lines, with exception to maybe chaps, in plus sizes and larger size tops, do really well, so that's the reason I got this. This was a 3X, so I priced it a little bit higher. I paid $4.89 for this. It sold on an offer to watchers for $26.97. And kind of same thing with this. This is Lucky brand, but I try to only stick to the larger sizes. I'd prefer to find plus sizes in this brand because those flip very quickly. But this was a size large. It was a pretty print and color, and it is just a tank top. I picked this up for $3.99, and it sold for my full asking price of $24.97. Again, sold within weeks. This is a newer athletic brand to me, and I've been picking up pretty much everything in this brand. It is Xayah Active. They have a little moon logo typically on the back of their clothing, like you see here. Found quite a few leggings. I found tops. I don't think I've found a jacket or any outerwear, but I have found these shorts. This was the first pair of shorts I found in this brand. I paid $4.29 for it. It did sell for my full asking price of $24.97. So hopefully the other leggings that I got will sell just as quickly. Last on eBay before we jump on over to Poshmark is something I wanted to show you. It's called Icicles. Here's how you spell it. And they make like really loud zip pullover shirts, and they have a really good sell-through rate. They're really easy to spot. It's a quick $25 to $30, so I thought I would share that with you. I paid $4.75 for this, and it sold on an offer for $25. Moving on over to Poshmark, this is a really exciting sale. I actually paid way up for this. I found this online, doing some like online arbitrage, but I saw that it was new at tags. Now, Ariat as a boot brand performs really well in both men's and women's for me. So I'm getting most things pre-owned, and they're still bringing in lots of money. So when I saw new at tags, I got really excited, and I decided to pay up for this. I paid $50 for these. $50. But I knew that they would probably sell for well over $100. I ultimately ended up accepting an offer of $130. I think I had them priced at $150. So I basically doubled my money on these, and it was a pretty quick flip. I don't suggest that everybody pay $50 for an item, but I was very confident that these would sell. Next, you're going to see a lot of these. These are Prana Pants. They're in essentially that, like, I don't want to say bulk buy, but a lot of Goodwills in my area all of a sudden got in a ton of Prana, and we went through and found all of the best ones. We looked up style names and the best condition ones and picked them all up, and then got them listed very quickly before any other resellers in my area could do the same. That way ours were bought first. I would say in total we probably picked up like 50 pairs of men's and women's collectively Prana pants, and they've been performing really well. I think just this week alone I probably sold 10. So We've been doing really well with it in both men's and women's. You do just want to be very careful of which style and make sure to look it up on the tag. These are called the Xayah Pants, and we paid $4.89 for almost all of the Prana stuff that we got, and they've been selling for about $40. These ones sold for $43. Here's a pair of Everlane women's pants. This is kind of like Tory Burch, where, you know, it retails for a lot and it does bring good money, but it does tend to sit. And so I still like to pick it up because, again, eventually it's going to bring good money and I just have a hard time leaving it behind. I paid $4.89 for these and they ended up selling for $34. They're just a pair of pleated khaki trousers. This I picked up along with some of the Prana stuff. I paid $4.89 for this. Fairway is a really great brand to pick up in a lot of things. These are a pair of men's organic cotton pants, and they perform really well. They sold for $40. This was an older pickup that I got at the Benz. I picked this up strictly for style. The brand is Sears and Roebuck Company, which from my research, some of these in this specific brand can do really well. I try to stick to the bright, like geometric ones, and I thought this one was a really good colorway. This ended up selling for me for $55, and I think that stuff like this is really going to take off as we move into the colder weather, and I love sourcing during this time because I can pick things up like this that are just really cool based on style alone. Here's another pair of Prana Pants. These are another pair of the Xayahs, and they sold for $40. And I mentioned this in one of my recent thrift hauls. This is one of my favorite brands to sell and find. It is On Cloud, and I love finding it because not a lot of people know what they are. They just have this ON logo, which I feel like a lot of people might not even know what that is, but they're called On Cloud. And here is what the sole looks like. They're kind of hard to tell exactly what they are, but these ones were in really, really fantastic condition. They go really quickly, guys. Like men's, women's, pre-owned, new. They have a ridiculously high sell-through rate. I would definitely keep your eye out for these shoes. I also got a pair of new in box ones, which I listed for over $100. Those ones haven't sold yet, but these ones did sell very quickly. They're my pre-owned ones, and they sold for $70, and I only paid $4.99 for them. I think because thrift stores don't know what this brand is, because again, it's not very clear, they don't tend to price them up very high. So keep your eye out for On Cloud. And this is another kind of like outdoorsy golf wear, athletic kind of brand. It is Titleix. I pick up almost everything in this brand. These were just a pair of women's nylon pants. They were called the Trail Mix pants, which I thought was kind of cool. We were able to look up the style name for this. I paid $4.69 and it sold for $27. This is an example of something that you probably want to look for in the fall. It is, and you know, kind of something you can look for based on style alone versus brand, and they are flannel shirt jackets. So something too light to be considered a full-on jacket, but too heavy to just be considered a shirt. People love shirt jackets, so I tend to pick them up based on style. This brand was just Legendary Whitetails, and it was a men's green plaid flannel shirt jacket. We try to use different words for these. I see we missed a couple here, but we try to do like outdoor, barn, chore, something like that. And because I don't see them here, I'll get with my office assistant about that so she knows as she lists these, because we're going to be picking a lot of them up. I paid $4.69 for this. It sold for $30. Here's another pair of Prana Pants. These ones are actually women's, and they're called the Halle or Haley's, and we paid $4.89. They sold for $49. This is a Brooks Brothers men's 100% merino wool sweater. I would definitely keep your eye out for sweaters in this brand, especially in nicer materials as we move into the colder weather. I picked this up for $4.69 and it sold for $35. Sweaters are starting to sell, guys. Start getting them in now. This is a very exciting find. I'm happy that these finally sold. I have been sitting on these maybe for I don't know, like a little over a month maybe. Very high sell-through rate, but you know, you might be sitting on it just because it is higher priced. But any kind of knee-high Converse do very, very well. I paid up for these. I paid $10.99, and I accepted an offer of $150. This was probably my favorite sale last week. Here's another Vineyard Vines piece. This again is men's, and these were called the Fairway chino shorts. Again, I can't stress enough, if you see the style name on the inside of a garment, definitely take a look. It's not, you know, always 100% tried and true, but I would say like 85% of the time it's true. So if you see that, make sure to look it up because it's probably worth getting. I paid $4.89 for this, and these shorts sold for $29. And lastly is another style-based pickup that I thought I would throw in here. I got this at the Benz. I picked it up because it was 3X. It was a pretty like burnt orange fall color, and it was tiered. It had smocking details. The brand is just Orange Creek. I don't know a whole lot about it because, again, I picked it up based on style. But this is just an example of factor stacking where you can pick something up for cheap and still make a good profit off of it. So those were my sales for the week. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you're not already and you would like to be, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified every time I post these videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.